at some point. There we go. Ow. Literally, right as I turned that on, I did the thing where you like hit your front teeth and your back teeth together. I felt like I just got stunned. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome. This is, first of all, before anything, Monday Morning Coffee, episode number 42. I have a coffee. I even did the fancy foam milk. I was really looking forward to telling everybody that I did the fancy foam milk today, but it took me fucking forever to get the stream set up, and at this point, most of the foam is now gone. But you can kind of see it. There's still some left. There was a lot more there, though, and it looked a lot more impressive. Let me tell you, it looked way better than whatever you thought that one looked. Like, if you thought that one looked good, the real one looked great. If you thought that one looked like shit, the real one also looked great. So, there's that. You might notice that the camera quality is kind of shit today, and the reason is because the internet, the Wi-Fi is still bad, and I still have not been able to get, because usually, the reason the streams usually look so good is because I have this phone. I use the phone as the webcam. The only problem is that you have to create a Wi-Fi IP cam with this phone. There is a way to do it on USB cable, and last time I tried for like 3 hours to get it working. It did not work. It only works on the Wi-Fi, so if the Wi-Fi quality is shit, even though I am literally connecting my fucking USB to this computer and they should just be able to see each other like easily, unfortunately it does not work that way. It needs a Wi-Fi signal, which is the one downside to that ability. So instead we get the 4K camera, which is definitely not 4K, and I actually wonder if there is some way, like if it's projecting like it's not like it could do better. It says that the resolution on Streamlabs, it says the resolution is 4096 by 2160, which first of all is a square. That's very strange. Second of all, this is like 360 at most, so I have no idea what the fuck it means by saying it's 4K. Absolutely, this is not 4K, 100%. And I wish there was some way that maybe I could, like, go through this. Hey, zoom, what does this do? Oh my god. I just opened something up, but this isn't what I wanted. This camera's terrible. Also, I can't position this camera. It's stationary in place, so now you can see the stupid... Hey everybody! You can see the stupid fucking screen on this hand, and you can see my screen over here. You can see this monitor. So now I can't dual stream pornography on here anymore while I'm doing Monday Morning Coffee. No, this is the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail that you can see on the YouTube page. So honestly, usually, if the Wi-Fi signal is bad and I can't get the camera working, I would just not have a camera on. But I was so proud of the milk foaming that I just had to do it to him. I had to at least point that one out. But beyond that, there's no reason to have this on, so I'm actually going to turn this off. And now you get the thumbnail again. But anyway, like I said, this is Monday Morning Coffee, episode 42. I have a copy. I have a list of topics. I'm going to keep talking about those topics until I finish the coffee. And let me tell you, this episode was weird. Not just because it was weird because the webcam wasn't working, and I spent like an hour trying to get it configured, and it just wasn't working, and I decided to use the web camera, getting that working, and it wasn't working. Not just because of all that stuff, but also because I woke up today with a huge headache. So that was another thing. So technically, this could have been a morning Monday morning coffee, where I really did do it straight from the morning, and I had plans, because I had a lot to talk about today, plans of doing a full-length Monday morning coffee where I actually genuinely finish the coffee. So I had plans of doing all that stuff, but I woke up this morning with a really bad headache. And it's like, okay, well shit. If I have a coffee, while I have a headache, it's gonna make the headache 10 times worse. So I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, well, I'll wait it out. I'll drink a lot of water. I drank a ton of water this morning. Didn't help. I ate breakfast. I ate a full breakfast, full healthy breakfast, lots of vegetables. Didn't help. So at some point, it became around noon. I was like, well, I still want to do this relatively in the morning. I don't want to do this at 3 p.m. if I don't have to, because I do also want to record some other stuff. So let me just do Monday morning coffee and drink the coffee and hope everything goes for the best. And so far, my headache has not come back, but that is to say, the reason I'm bringing all this up is that we will either have a full-length episode where I finish the coffee on stream. I said on camera, but unfortunately there is no camera. Or the headache comes back and I get wiped out, and we kind of have to stop it from there. There was another thing too where it was like it was halfway. It was like noon. I kind of had to, even if I didn't want to do Monday morning coffee, I still kind of had to drink the coffee because it was at the point where, in the morning I had a headache. I did all this stuff to try and cure the headache. At noon I had the headache and I was also tired because I didn't have a coffee. So that just made it like way worse. So I had the coffee now, and the headache is gone. In fact, this coffee might have been. I've been doing the fancy health coffees. I don't know what your guys' opinion of this is, but you read those like health medical journal articles, and they give you all sorts of opinions on like what the best foods for you are. I used to, before I did JBR when I was in, not high school, when I was in college, I did a quote-unquote startup called Shauna, which was like about longevity and, the foods, exercise regime, whatchamacallits, that you can do now to increase like your health, like lifespan sort of stuff. So I did a lot of research on that for that project. And you go into these medical journals and they tell you like what foods have the most scientific backing as to like whether they're like good for you or not, whether they can really like improve your health. And so I've been focusing on eating a lot more of those foods. And of course, one of the things that you can do for coffee. So coffee itself is not on that list. Coffee, oat milk, all that stuff that you usually have in coffee, none of them are on that list. But what is on that list is 3 things. All spices. Turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon. Cinnamon's an interesting one, but cinnamon is on there. And then so is turmeric and ginger, which those ones are like weirder ones, so I feel like people assume that because they're weird, yeah, they probably would be health things. So that one's not as strange. But turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon, if you put them all in a coffee, they taste like relatively good, right? Like you pretty much just made a chai by doing that. Think about it that way. Of course, chai is a tea, but a chai tea tastes pretty similar to a latte. So this is pretty similar, one might say. So I've got my coffee here. My coffee, of course, foamed oat milk. It looks great. When I first made it, before it showed up on camera, it looked fantastic. It looked absolutely wonderful. Foamed oat milk. And then I put turmeric, so it's got a little bit of a yellow lining. I put ginger. And this is when I was brewing it, so I used the AeroPress, right? And so the AeroPress, you put in the ground coffee beans. And then in the ground coffee beans, I put in some turmeric, I put in some ginger, I put in some cinnamon. Kind of stir that all up. Put the hot water in, brew it for a couple minutes, and then turn it around. Press it into the coffee. And so it has all the good stuff, but then it also has like the coffee. And also, I don't mind it. I don't mind it enough to keep drinking it and not like think in my head that like, oh god, I just gotta keep stomaching this. It's good for my health. Like, it's not like that. It's like, this is pretty good. Is it as good as like one of those like disgusting, terrible for you coffees you would get from like a coffee shop? No, it's not as good as that. But it's not like it's like the water of coffee, right? It's like it doesn't taste particularly good, but if you know it's good for you, then you'll just drink it. Like, who cares? It's not a big deal. It's like that. And it's not hard to make either, because all you do is you just put all those spices in when you're making the coffee, and you brew it as usual. So it's not like a huge bunch of steps that you have to do in advance to get this all working. So that's another good thing about it. That's how I've been making my coffees. Very nice. Both the coffees. Well, actually, I think this is the first time I've had this coffee on camera, but usually when I just have coffee to have coffee in the morning, this is the type of coffee that I make. Yeah, because usually for Monday morning coffee, I drink them at 3 p.m., which is not. Those are going to be like the Phil's coffees where it's like, oh shit, I just got to go to the cafe across the street because I don't have a coffee ready for this show. But this time I did. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have one more coffee in there because I always brew 2 cups in the morning. 1 cup I drink immediately, the other cup I drink later. This one, of course, I waited on, but same sort of thing. You know, now that I've been talking for a while, now that we've been discussing stuff, it reminds me. The fact that there's no video camera on the stream kind of reminds me of a podcast. And it segues us quite nicely into a point that I mentioned here on this show, one might say a podcast in some respects, before, which is that I wanted to port Monday Morning Coffee to Anchor. Now, this is interesting because I want to expand Monday Morning Coffee to be more than just, like I said, this last couple of episodes, we've been consistent, which is important. Every single Monday, with exception of maybe 3 or 4 in the past couple of weeks, I've done this show, but they've all been 7 to 14 minutes, which is not really what you would call a full-length episode of Monday Morning Coffee, especially since I'm not finishing the coffee within those times. So I want to add more ideas to what I do on Monday Morning Coffee and what I record on Monday Morning Coffee. I think I hinted at this last episode, that I had a couple of different series ideas that I wanted to try doing. One of them was diving into, because I am obsessed with this sort of stuff, the weird, disturbing internet mystery content, whether it be just watching a YouTube web series or discussing like something on a conspiracy chart or something. This was my secret idea from last week. I call it Armchair Detective, because it's gonna be me talking about this shit, pretending I have any fucking clue about any of this stuff. Kind of like just a normal episode of Monday Morning Coffee, but with stuff that has some sort of spooky occult reference to it. And so originally, that was going to be its own show. And it was even going to be on a different channel than this. However, I think it both fits on this channel, because it's a weird whatever, he's reacting, he's saying stupid shit to a webcam. That's pretty similar to what's on this show already. And I also think it would be a good subject for this show, specifically. Now, the only weird thing, like I said, is that, let's say we're reacting to some sort of web series, right, on Monday Morning Coffee. But if we're trying to get this on Anchor and we're trying to do this to a podcast, how exactly does that work? Like, what's a good way of that working? And I don't know the answer to that, honestly. I don't know the answer just yet. But I'm workshopping it. I'm hoping that in the future, not in this episode, unfortunately, but I have a lot of ideas saved. In the future, we start adding that stuff, and hopefully there's a way to get that on Anchor. I also still don't have the show on Anchor. I'm sorry. But one of these days. You can still watch Astuckery and Friends on Anchor, I think. Or maybe not Astuckery and Friends, but the one that was after Astuckery and Friends. I've done this shit a lot, where I just talk live on a live stream, but this is the most consistent that I've been. I'm doing the thing, and then there's another thing where if we're doing a podcast, I can no longer do the thing where I just write notes about what I need to do later that day. Like, for example, put Monday Morning Coffee on Anchor as a podcast. And I can't just say that I do those tags. We got to make this a little bit more entertaining. So there's that. There's the armchair detective idea, which I think would be really fun for Monday Morning Coffee, and I think it fits as a sub segment of Monday Morning Coffee. That's how these people usually do these shows, right? They do Q&A stuff, yes, true, but we don't have anyone who wants to do Q&A. And topics, updates about what's going on in the channel and everything like that. That's also very important to this show, I feel like, but it takes such a small amount of time that I'm not really too worried about it. Or I should say, it takes such a short amount of time that if we want to do a full-length episode, like 2 hours, then I'm not going to be able to talk about updates for 2 hours. So we need to put in more segments. An Armchair Detective is a great segment. Another great segment that I think could work is a Stukery's Cabana, which of course is the little mini magazine thing that I was doing on Instagram for a while, but decided to kind of turn that off just because it wasn't really getting the I would say it wasn't really getting the views, but also it was just like more work than, you know, I wasn't really feeling, I wasn't jiving with it, the designs and stuff that I was making, it didn't really feel like it was that great. So I would love to do something similar to Stukery's Cabana also on this show. But that one's even harder, because if we're doing Armchair Detective, if we're making up some theories about random shit, you can kind of hear and you can kind of listen along and it still kind of makes sense. I feel like with the Stukery Cabana stuff, because we're going to be talking about like visuals for the most part, like going on deep dives on Web 1.0 or stuff, might be lost in translation a little bit. That one definitely might be lost in translation a little bit if we do a podcast, if you watch on the podcast. So maybe if I just keep that in mind, like if I tell people, you know, hey, you can, by the way, if you watch this on YouTube, you can see all the stuff that's going on here. That might make more sense in that regard. But yeah, I'm hoping to include those things. Things are kind of moving along at a sluggish pace in terms of me integrating new stuff into like Monday Morning Coffee and all these channels. But they are things that I am genuinely working on as of right now, and I'm just kind of waiting for the perfect chance to get all this stuff in action. And you'll know what I mean. You'll know what I mean when I say that. But I'm looking for the perfect chance. I want to bring back a Sukario shorts. The shorts on this channel, they're going to look a little bit different. They're going to look a little bit nicer, or I guess more what you would expect from like a short, a TikTok sort of thing. I want to do something like that. I want to bring those back. Of course, you've been getting regular videos from me. We're still doing BeamNG. The newest BeamNG video should come out this Saturday. I just finished the editing for that actually not too long ago. I just had to do this stupid thing where I like splice them and compile them and what's the word? Render them. I gotta do all that stuff. But then once that's out, then that video's done. And then from there, I want to do Teardown, I want to do Mod Skyrim, and we're going to start getting into original content. Now, I am doing some recording on the side, where I'm recording some stuff that I'm not doing live, but I also want to get back into live streams at some point, and I also want to get back into Igloo, and do Igloo on JBR, and I want to do a proper Igloo. I don't want to do these fake Igloos anymore. I want to bring back Igloo as it is, because Igloo as it is was great, and it worked, and I think we can still do it. I have a new plan on how to record Igloo that I think could really work well. So there's that as well. There's that too. So I got a lot of ideas in the pipeline, bringing old stuff back, really. Things that worked, but just didn't work quite enough. Putting more content in Monday Morning Coffee. Figuring out a way to do all that stuff. Bringing back the shorts in a way that I think makes sense. Bringing back a lot of JBR content. And bringing back the Discord. We have a Discord. Check the description. That's been kind of dead because I stopped advertising it, really. I don't really tell anybody about that, but I'm open to do that as well. But, yeah. It's going to be some exciting stuff coming out in the future. And my God, I cannot believe I finished that coffee this quickly. Hold on, I feel like I need to prove myself here. I feel like I need to prove this. Hold on. Just so you think that I wasn't lying to you. The coffee is done. There is no more coffee. We're done with the coffee. It's 20 minutes, but I did finish the coffee. I don't know why it was so short this time. That was a full cup. Well, hold on. Here's why. It's because the past couple of ones I've been doing like coffee store coffees. They're like this big. They're like this huge. You never finish them. You start the day at like 8 o'clock working on one, and it goes to 8 p.m. and you're still on like the last third. That's why. But no, yeah. Sounds good then. I fulfilled my task here. I kept talking until there was no more coffee, and now there's no more coffee, and I'm gonna say that we'll finish it for now. I got a lot of stuff to work on. I got a lot of things that I want to get rolling both on this channel and elsewhere. I think it's gonna be exciting. I think the times ahead are going to be quite interesting. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one. So, see ya then. And hopefully the next one will also be on Anchor. Hopefully I remember that. But we'll see.